This is just where I'm at, because if we're going to talk about changing the trajectory of where we're going culturally, we can't keep getting branded with this.
So I was actually reading the captions and stuff with what people's thoughts were on it, and one person actually said, give it a chance.
Just why? That's my biggest question is why.
So back to what I was saying.
What's up, friends, family, and fans? Welcome to Life on Podcast. This is where we listen and inspire friends in entertainment.
And everywhere.
Oh, yeah, and that too, because life happens to everyone. It is I, Stone Stafford, with my ride or die co-host,
Johnny. What's up?
Finally decided to spend some time in Atlanta. This dude is gone all the time.
Leaving as soon as we shut the camera off.
But she is back. If you have watched our earlier episodes, you remember, what did I say? Jahira. Don't call her Hyra, which is now corny. But anyway, Jahira Arias is back. What up?
What up? No, seriously, congrats to you two.
Yo, we appreciate
It's
that.
all good.
What episode is this?
Man,
215? Something like that?
And I was
like that.
on like number 2.
You on number 2?
Yep,
Yeah.
number 2. Yep. So if you guys want to check her out on number 2, she has some good things to say.
Absolutely.
Beautiful, intelligent, talkative. So all that happens. Personality. Well, not talkative like yap, but just like
compliment,
she has
long-winded.
like she has
Compliment.
something to say. She has something to say. So she is in town. She moved to Vegas. She is back. How was Vegas?
Vegas has been great. I know
Yeah.
a lot of people are concerned because it's super hot out there, but
Yeah.
to be honest with
Facts.
you, it's cold.
You feeling it?
Gets cold out there, and it snows. Not in
Yeah,
all parts
some
of
parts.
Vegas,
Yeah, some parts.
but it does snow out
Right.
there. So it gets cold, so it's not always 100 plus degrees out there. It's only like 2 months that you get that, and honestly, I love it because it's dry weather. It's not humid, so my hair ain't all over the place. I'm super cool with it.
So it sounds like you're having a good time
Good time.
in Vegas. We're going to let that one marinate so y'all can appreciate the genius of that
I'm
segue.
embarrassed to sit
You're
across from you sometimes.
You're welcome.
If you didn't know what we were talking about today,
Then you obviously didn't look at the thumbnail, first of all. That's the first thing. So yeah, but we are going to hop right on that because I'm very bothered. And since a lot of times we are so dichotomous.
there's no dichotomous on this one, bro.
Really?
None.
Oh,
whatsoever.
well, this one
And
might
that's
be a
why-
boring episode for
That's
y'all.
that's why I didn't text you back. So I was like, I already know how you feel, and I think you're gonna be surprised how I feel.
Yeah, okay, I will be, because you always find that this is the stuff where you're normally Mr. Optimist. You're like, well, you got to understand, Stone, and blah, 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 blah. I don't
I ain't
see any
understanding
excuse
a
in
damn
this.
thing on this one. Nah, I ain't
Yeah,
got
so
no
as
understanding.
y'all know right now, so we're talking about the whole cartoon reboot of Good Times.
And see, right there, because you know how I feel about reboots, so you lose me.
This is true.
At
Yeah,
reboot.
this is true.
So
Yeah.
that's and
all I can say was why.
Okay.
I was just like, why? Like, why? You know what I mean? I mean, this is what the first thing that came to my mind was when James Evans, right? John Amos, when he left the show. One of the reasons why they killed him off the show is what they did, right? But one of the main reasons is because the whole JJ character started becoming it was too much coonery. You know, obviously JJ was the draw. He was the funny. He was the slapstick comedy, which is always a draw. But it became too much, you know, and the whole thing was, what's the lyric? Keeping your head above water, making the way you can. Right? It was all talking about you're living in these dire situations, but you're making the best out of it, trying to work your way out of it.
Right.
Then along comes Seth MacFarlane, Steph Curry.
I saw his name and I was like, what is happening right now?
And who's the showrunner on that? Renata something.
Yeah.
But anyway, so look, I don't want to say like I'm pointing blame.
No. There's blame.
There's some blame to point, but just why? That's my biggest question is why. Do y'all come on, be devil's advocate?
I want to hear everything Jahira says. So I'm gonna kind of do a diarrhea of the mouth and just get mine out the way right now. One, I don't like reboots because I feel that when you have a form of iconic art that becomes a staple of not only a culture but then it bridges gaps to others, which is exactly what Good Times is still doing. Some of my white friends quote Good Times, and they'll drop quotes that I don't remember, and I've watched all
I
of
have
it.
white friends that do that, but I just quote it. Don't try to quote it and sound black.
Well, that's true.
I hate that part.
Lee got me one time with a couple.
I didn't
want to
say his name, but you know, that's the first person that came to mind.
Lee hit me with a couple, and I was like, I need to go watch that episode. I don't remember that one. And I went back, I was like, I do.
Shout out to Lee Heisman.
But I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I think culturally is important, because when we talk about one elevation of the oppressive part of our history and our culture, when you continue those tropes, you don't give it an opportunity to die away so that we can get past it. So the reboot thing I have a problem with, just for the simple fact that I'm starting to feel like we are running out of creative ideas to do new stuff. Like, writers are not digging deep enough to give us something.
I was going to say, they're just not digging. It's not that we've run out.
Yeah, well, man, that's the thing. They're not digging. There's everything at surface level. Everybody wants to reboot something, want to take, and they want to put a new spin, freshen it up for the next generation. Damn the next generation. Give them their own thing, and then give them something to go back and watch, from the past, and it live in its own era. Before I even watched the trailer, I was like, I'm not gonna feel this, because my initial thought was what a lot of people thought too. They were gonna tap some of the original cast, they were gonna bring them back, it was gonna feel hokey and corny, and it's not gonna be the nostalgia we were looking for.
Right.
And then I watched the trailer and I was like, oh, this is some bullshit. Like, I'm just watching. I'm like, this is Baby's Kids. Like, what the what?
Yeah.
I said what the like 10 times in the first 45 seconds of the 2 minute and whatever trailer, and I was like, there's nothing positive about this.
Right.
And over the course of the last 10 years, everybody's like, yo, Johnny, why don't you watch the slave movies? Why don't you go watch 13? I don't want to see that stuff. And there's no disrespect to the art. I'm sure it's amazing. I know all of that stuff's won awards, but I'm of the mindset that we've had enough time to be beat across the head with the negativity of our past. And I need more Black Panthers. I need the Mansa Musa movie to be made. I need more of this positive stuff to happen.
Switching roles right now.
This is just where I'm at, because if we're going to talk about changing the trajectory of where we're going culturally, we can't keep getting branded with this. And all this is doing is taking every single stereotype and hyper amplifying it in a culture where we just can't escape it.
So y'all know how I started talking about something. Yeah, we're here to love everybody, and we're one body, we're all one energy. And Johnny's sitting there like, yes, I'm so proud of you. I mean, you sound like me right now. Like, you sound like me right now. I want to get your thoughts before I chime in on more of that.
I'm proud to sound like you on this one.
Yeah.
Jahira, what you got, mama?
You guys have definitely evolved. No, so I was actually reading the captions and stuff with what people's thoughts were on it, and one person actually said, "Give it a chance. Wait
My
till
sister-in-law
you actually
said
watch
that.
it."
My sister-in-law said that.
Yeah, and honestly, from what I saw, I agree with both of you. I don't think that it should have been redone. The way that it was redone is just not giving what we were given back in the time,
Right.
back in the days. And we don't have anything. I don't know that there's anything other than when the first Black Panther that came out, that's given kind of hope to the kids, or like some positivity for anyone. Like, so I'm not watching it.
Yeah, when you said the 13th, when you said 13th or whatever, to me those are a little bit different, because even the whole purpose and energy of that was to address everyone and be like, racism isn't a problem anymore.
Sure.
So they're like, let us show you that it is. That's one thing. Sure. And you can't do that without showing what goes on.
No disagreement.
So those I get. But just to be talking about it, just to talk about it, to make some money off of it, of what we go through, that's the part that's a pain in the butt. So that's where I might disagree with you on the 13th part, because that was the whole mission, is to show like, nah, fool, get out your box. So and that's the thing. It's not just white people. So I want to say this, because Black people, any race, Latinos, whatever, sometimes we can live in a vacuum where all you do is just surround yourself by your own. And that's a very big problem. I remember when I used to lead this small group and I went to Buckhead Church, I did this exercise. And we had all these colored jelly beans. And I would ask a bunch of questions. I was like, put a jelly bean out for people that represent the color or the race of people that you work around every day when you go to work. So they would some of them put a couple out, some, right? And I did that for church. I did that for your holiday party, for vacation, blah, blah, blah. And by no surprise, a lot of my friends had just a bunch of white jelly beans out. Work in church was probably the most diverse group, where they had more than just white jelly beans, but for the most part, they're white jelly beans. And so to me, I'm like, okay, so the only place you're getting your education and insight on other cultures is television, film, music, basically media.
Right.
And if they're putting out bull crap like a reboot of the freaking Good Times, or if all you're watching is, say, Boys in the Hood and stuff like that, that's who you think we are. You see what I'm saying? And that's why this is a problem, because there's going to be a bunch of people who love just Seth MacFarlane, first of all.
And I'm one of those people.
And I'm a fan of his writing, too. Some of the stuff is a little too crass for me for unnecessary reasons. But other than that, I get it, and I think he's talented. But if that's all you're in, and you're in this vacuum of a space, I mean, this is just really going to build up on your whole stereotypical view of what black people are. And all we're doing is like, here, spoon feeding. Here's some more. Here's some more of that BS.
I want to read a couple of things first in their entirety and then break them down. John Amos, who unfortunately was removed from the show due to him. And I think he was right even back then of going at Norman Lear for saying, listen, this is, if we're going to put on a show like this to put our culture in this light, we don't want the buffoonery to counterbalance it to the point to where people only lock in on that,
overshadowing,
even though it was funny. So, I mean, his statement on it was, I really can't form an opinion. This is in quotes, as I've not seen any of the episodes yet. And the entire cast and company set the bar pretty high. Speaking of Norman Lear, when they did the original show, they'll have a hard time reaching that level of entertainment and education. That was the biggest thing, is when he said that, by him even making that statement without seeing any of it, when you watch it, and you know what? The trailer could be misleading. Maybe it's just done as a sizzle reel and it's just giving us all the negative stuff.
Right.
And then maybe every episode does wrap with some kind of enlightening, informative information.
Facts.
It's very possible. I don't know. But as it stands, what I see right now is all the negativity that has just been hyped up.
Right.
The quote finishes with, I wish them the best. I see people aspiring to that, but I don't see anybody reaching that goal, especially in an animated version. So a little bit of shade, I think, but I think it was warranted. Bernadette Stannis. Anybody know Thelma? She actually,
shout out to. I'm not gonna say it. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I can't. It's inappropriate, especially in the climate we're talking about right now.
Let's leave it up.
I had a crush on Bernadette. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah, at 10 years old though, I shouldn't be thinking the type of.
I was doing the math on that.
Yeah. At 10 years old, I shouldn't be having those types of crushes.
Stone has some posters on the wall. There you go. You're gonna hear Bernadette's voice in the series, and she actually admits to that. She was tapped to, but she didn't know why. So she did some voiceover stuff, and her voice does appear. And then she said when she found out what it was, it's not what she expected. So she says this, quote, I did a little voice for them, but did not know it was going to be the way it is. I thought it was going to be different. It's just a little here and there, but I think they did that because they knew what their show was going to be like. So I guess they figured if you put us in there, it wouldn't look so bad or whatever.
Token.
As if the original cast members were co-signing in a sense.
Right.
Because you need that. Like the naming of the show, calling it Good Times, originally everybody's thinking, oh, it's going to be a cartoon version of the original. What we saw. Right. And that's the draw. Yep. The name is the draw because you immediately tie it to, I mean, the first time you say everybody, I know you thought Dynamite. It's the first thing you think. And
actually, I thought,
damn. There you go. Damn. It's not a bad one either. But your favorite characters, your favorite moments, all of those things immediately flood. And then you start looking forward to seeing a revised version, if they're going to reboot something, of what you felt then for that nostalgia. And then you get this shock factor.
I was just going to say that.
Of what you see and you...
Which might have been marketing.
Yeah. And like I said, I said what numerous times in the first 40-something seconds, but I still caught myself waiting for it to... And then it got 30 seconds to the end. I was like, this ain't it.
Yeah.
This ain't where it's at. And it feels like it's a cold bait and switch, because when you look at the names that's involved in the creation of it, not mad at Steph for jumping into the creative world. You knew it was going to happen. He got a lot of money. He's actually a creative himself. So to see it happen, I'm proud to see him doing it. Mm-hmm. Then to see the names of talented artists that I like Jay Farrell was one of the greatest.
Please don't call him Pharaoh again.
I like to call him Pharaoh.
No, it's Pharaoh.
It's Pharaoh. I know.
Yeah.
We called him Pharaoh.
You're the ones that call that game taboo.
Exactly.
It's taboo.
So right before he popped, we had the opportunity to have him 9-9 a game, and we had him in there for the whole show, and we were just talking hoops with him, and we screwed his name up every time we came back from commercial break. It was just fun, and he got on us for it, and it became a huge thing. So I've stuck with Ferraro just because of the funniest. But anyway, I'm a huge fan. And there are other cast members who are extremely talented. I think I heard Wanda Sykes is in it too.
Wanda Sykes, JB Smoove.
Smooth is in there.
I don't know JB Smoove. He could be the most activist person in the world, but I kind of wasn't surprised when I saw JB Smoove's name.
It's not so much the surprise factor. It's the fact of where they are in their careers now, and they now have the gravitas. They have that power to push certain things forward. Right. And this feels like
when they got to the point where they could say, I want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you think? When once they realized what this thing was, and they were like, all right, I'm cool with it. We'll keep doing it. How do you feel about that? I mean, it's going to sound judgmental, but this is just opinion.
When I saw Steph's name first, I was like, why? Because he wasn't even born. so that was like my initial thought. It was like, what does he know? What exact, like, those are my thoughts. It's like, what all do they really know about the show? Did they really watch it to bring back exactly what it was? Because from what I saw, again, it was no comparisons. There is no comparison. So my initial thought was just like, why? Like, I feel like they just collaborated on something just because of the name. Because they know everybody's going to most likely watch it, or thought everyone would like it and watch it. But I honestly, I don't know why.
Here's a deep question. Do you think any part of greenlighting this was nefarious?
Yes.
Meaning to, on purpose, feed into and keep the stereotypes alive?
Yeah.
You believe? What do you think? And we don't know. We weren't at the table, so this is just our gut. We're just guessing.
This is just calling a spade a spade. This is Hollywood. You did it before. I'm thinking you're going to do it again. That's how I feel.
Considering everything that's going on in entertainment right now, I'm not surprised. I think that it was definitely. And some of the people, just like even with Bernadette, she didn't know what she was doing at the time until after. Right. So I think that, they may have not known and went ahead and did it just thinking, hey, good times.
Right. Yeah. I do think, and it's one of those things where a person will say, I'm not racist. I have a bunch of black friends who they genuinely love. Yet, as soon as the daughter brings home a black boyfriend, they were going to get married, they feel some kind of way. Or, so, you know what I mean? So I think it's one of those things where if you ask the person, whoever gave it the go and okayed the budget, consciously, they might be like, no, this is just funny. And let's not get it twisted. If they felt like it's going to make them a bunch of money, screw the reasons. Of course. It's going to get the green light. But then subconsciously, I feel like there might have been a whole thing of, this falls in line of the way things should be. Type of thing. And again, consciously they may say, I would never think that, blah, 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 blah. But I do think there was some kind of on purpose, subconscious thing there that did that. I really, really do. Yep. You know what I mean? Again, I wasn't in the room, but that's what I feel. I didn't do any research in the beginning before watching the trailer. So I honestly didn't know Seth was involved yet until I watched the trailer. I knew Steph was. And so y'all know too, so Steph and Rhonda. Huh? Rhonda? Showrunner? No, but executive producers. For people there are a lot of people who know, a lot of people don't. So as an executive producer, which is what I'm aspiring to become, a lot of times you're providing finances and resources for the film to get done. There can be times where you just get the general overall idea of what it is. And then, of course, everything's relationships. You trust the director, you trust the showrunner, you trust you're like, okay, I'll be a part of this. And you put your money in. And you don't know what the finished product is going to look like. So I might attribute that a bit to Steph Curry. Well, and again, this is a maybe. So but that is possible. That is possible.
It is. No,
that's a stretch because even as an executive producer, you have the ability to go uncredited as an executive producer.
Sure,
you can because so the fact none of this stuff's going to come out.
Now that it's come out, the fact that he's like, "Yo, take my name off that joint,"
they can actually say, "But I mean, his picture is on like it's right there."
But I thought even with that, like you read what you're doing, don't you? Like, you look into what you're doing, you read everything, you check it.
Was just like Bernadette. They gave her a great idea of what is a general, overall, probably glossed over idea of what it was, and she's like, "Oh, for sure."
This is an executive.
This is an executive producer.
No, I get it, but again, if Jerry Bruckheimer, you know what I mean, or what's my man? I love his stuff. He usually has like the blue tinge on all his stuff. I can't think of the director right now. Michael Bay, right? If Jerry Bruckheimer or Michael Bay says, Stone, I'm working on a thing. Here's an opportunity for you to come in as executive producer. I'm already at yes. Now I just want to hear. Now I just want to hear. I'm telling you, me.
Okay.
Because it's the same thing with you. If you were like Stone,
but you were gonna say now you want to hear.
But I want to hear. But listen, I want to hear now. If you're going to say anything that would now make me say no,
right?
I'm not trying to hear anything to prove my yes.
Right.
Are you going to say something that jumps out to me to make me be like, hold up?
But see
now,
how you said that?
But if all they explain, like what they did with Bernadette, if they explain and tell the truth, but they kind of gloss it in such a way where it sounds like it's cool, I'm on board. Why? Because Jerry Bruckheimer and Michael Bay, y'all are successful. Y'all do quality
details than just that. Though.
It's going to depend on the person. I'm trying to tell you. I won't ask as many questions of you.
Even I'm gonna ask a bunch of questions.
I do, but it's still not
right.
But it's still not as digging. I came to Johnny one time with an investment thing that I'm doing, right? Yeah, he said I want to know more about it, right? But he was kind of on board, ready to listen. Like, hey, shoot, if you want, matter of fact, he said, hey, if you doing it.
No, I said if you're doing it, I'm open to hearing about it.
No, I get that. No, I'm not saying that you don't want to hear about it. I'm not saying that. I think that's due diligence. I think that should happen.
Hang on, let me say this one thing.
I'm just like, I'm yes from jump, and based on who brought it.
That's
to
what
me,
I wanted to address on it. I don't care who brings it to me. I've learned that lesson. Maybe
I shouldn't say yes. Maybe that's like you said. I'm just way more open.
There you go.
To it. Maybe
open
I should just tell you.
And now I can back off what I was about to say. I was about to put this size 13 on your forehead.
Yeah, no, I saw where you were going, and I was like, So one thing I do hope does not happen. Well, two things, because you did say something that I must admit, the whole sizzle reel thing.
Yep.
Very, very possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, very, very clickbaitish type thing. And I didn't really give that enough consideration.
And that could be a part of the marketing.
And you know what? I'm actually hoping
that's what it is.
Because if they do take such shocking scenes and then wrap that thing up with some kind of really come home, I'm not saying like preacher moment, but wrap it up with some kind of motivational, wholesome, whatever, make you think kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I'm going to flip the script and I'm going to be like, dope.
So here's my question for you both. Because I don't really know the directors and the producers. The only person I know is Steph, right? Mm-hmm. So who on there, and I know about him, his upbringing, right. Who on there has a similar upbringing?
Nobody.
Okay.
Well, Renata maybe. But
similar upbringing is who?
As the people on the show, the original.
Right.
From the show.
That can have a connection to the show.
I would say Wanda all day. And I would say JB Smooth.
She was talking producers and executives. If you mean you including cast members too?
No.
So
gotcha.
Producers, directors.
Gotcha.
So this is, I was going to touch on this too, because I mean, like I said, I'm a huge fan of Seth MacFarlane. I'm a big Family Guy fan. It took me a minute to appreciate what he did with the Cleveland show, but I was able to eventually, and it was for a very similar reason, because Seth's a white guy.
Wasn't he doing Cleveland's voice for a while?
He did the whole show. Yeah, he does most of it.
They have a black guy doing it now,
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And that's because that became a thing. So it was in part like, who are you sourcing this information from? Like, he's got friends, he's talking to people to get the material, but at the end of the day, it's still a very, very talented white guy telling a black story. And there were moments where you could say, all right, that didn't hit, because everything up to that point, and then I could tell this to what a white kicked in. Like I wasn't feeling that. Like I wasn't feeling that part right there.
And that's why I asked the question.
And that's exactly. That's the concern that I have with this, is that no doubt the writer's room, I'm sure, is going to be probably us, more than likely. So the information, the sourcing of what the material is probably going to be authentic and accurate. But on the face of it, I'm seeing a very, very talented white guy telling hyper stereotypic stories of where I came from. And I'm going to have I'm going to have a problem with that. And it makes Steph almost look like he's co-signing something because Steph ain't even where I came. Like, he's not from where I came from.
Right.
Del Curry was in the NBA. Like, people forget this. Steph grew up with an NBA daddy. So let's not act like Steph from the block. Like, I'm not saying Steph ain't with the people. Like, he cool, but like Steph ain't like, no. That's not that. So having Steph co-sign Seth with telling these stereotypic stuffs, it doesn't sit right here for me. And I mean, it makes it difficult for me to even vocalize it because I look at it when I'm just looking at writers, executives, just like, why are y'all the ones doing this? Right. And then the people who are on the cast who, I know y'all y'all seen this, y'all have lived this. Why y'all co-signing this? Like, why are y'all out of it now? Right. And then allowing people not from that to tell these stories to perpetuate it. That's where I'm having. Now, if it does flip it, if they take it and they make it to where it's wrapped up in a pretty little bow and we're learning these life lessons and make it a come to Jesus moment. And I don't care. Then I can be happy with that. But I don't see it that way.
Here's the kickback on that though. Norman Lear ain't black.
No, he wasn't.
You know what I'm saying? And I think
but that's why John Amos had such a problem. That's why that was an issue.
Right, but like. But the reason why that argument on this reboot is, I was like, well, did you have the experience and did you? I'm like, yeah, but the people who created the original one weren't black.
No, and that's true. So, no, I don't. Well, and that's the thing. Back then, black people probably wouldn't have been able to create the original one. Norman,
Jefferson.
That's true. You know? Norman was a champion of the culture. I had the opportunity to meet him right before he passed away. He came up and we interviewed him on a Ryan Cameron show, and he actually talked about that. Like he spoke to accepting early on that he wasn't of the culture, but he respected what that generation had, and he wanted to tell the stories. Right. And it felt authentic. And
it was. And to my point, and I'm not saying this is what you were saying, Jaira, but I'm just saying that just because somebody's not of the culture doesn't mean they can't tell the story.
Well, most novels are that way. I mean, shoot, the greatest...
Passion of the Christ... So not of the culture
at all,
but probably the most accurate story of it so far.
I won't say
Jesus' hair was still a little too stringy, but as far as the depiction of things, it was the closest thus far.
Okay.
Thus far, closest doesn't necessarily mean you nailed it
to the source material.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Right. So why do you think that they would make the sizzles or the clips? Why would they showcase those clips?
Same reasons why sometimes when I used to do our clips on this, I would usually put a lot of my foot and mouth comments, a lot of my Stone said that. I would usually do those in our clips because it makes people be like, no, well, let me see what these people are talking about.
That's different because that's actually the episodes for real.
But here's the deal. This is going back to what I'm saying. I believe by human nature, we're just drawn to that crap anyway. To my point. If we weren't, reality TV shows would not have a business. We're drawn to the drama, to the toxicity, to the negativity for whatever reason. I know there's a psychological explanation for it, but I don't know it. But we're drawn to that crap. So that's why we have sizzle reels and clickbaits. We're like, what? Some people, and this is what I was going to say before you said that, which now it's making me change my mind. Okay. I was going to say, I hope all of this hype about this doesn't blow this show up.
But that's what it's going to do.
But to your point, which I pray is the case, these are just clickbait, real, and it turns out to be a show that's about something, then I'm glad they did it that way, because there are going to be people that watch it to prove that they should be pissed at it. Yeah. And then there are going to be people who watch it to just give it a chance. And there's going to be people who watch it because they don't have a problem with it. So that's why you do those clips like that. They just want you to watch it and get into it or not get into it, but at least watch it at first.
You kind of said what I was going to get to next. I would be remiss if I did not say the marketing teams at Netflix are genius. And I'm sure they've been involved with this whole thing from the beginning. And I've got 100 megabytes of snapshots of the comments underneath the video. I'm talking about thousands of comments. Sure. And a bunch of them were like, why haven't they turned the comments off yet? Like, that's the thing. They're like, yo, this is getting bad in here.
Somebody saw the 3 days, it was like 42,000 negative comments and like 4.9 thumbs ups.
But that's the thing. Like, the marketing teams knew that was going to happen in the comment section. They know that. So from a marketing standpoint, it's genius because what the hell are we doing right now? We're sitting here talking about it right now.
Right.
Exactly.
Giving it promo.
Exactly.
And I'm going to watch the first 2 episodes because I want to see if that suggested potential is what's going to happen. If it's going to be negative, resolution to positive story.
I'm going to watch it because we're going to do a show on that mofo.
I mean,
We might even do it live and watch it live.
We'll watch
and
it
just
live. I'm
watch
not mad
it
at the
live and
reaction.
do a show and
I'm
do
not
a
mad at
reaction
that.
show.
I'm not mad
For
at
sure.
that.
You going to be
I'm
in
not mad
there?
at all.
Watch party.
No, we can zoom you in.
Yeah,
if
we're
you
going to do a
want.
live,
I'm
live
totally
on
down.
podcast watch party for sure. But to prove that point.
As a beautiful young woman that
Not a woman, but thanks for
carries the
compliment.
not you, sir.
Oh,
you,
damn.
absolutely not you. Who do I have on the camera right now? I'm not even on camera as I'm talking. Get out of the shot.
What are you doing?
Who's a part of mothering the cradle of the world? How do you feel about just seeing the seeds culturally being planted still at this point, whether it's in music, whether it's the animated stuff that's coming, for the younger people to feed off of? Like, what does that make you feel like from your female perspective? Because every woman I've spoken to has a mothering instinct that's just like, I wouldn't want my kids to see this.
Except Sexy Red. But go ahead.
Well, that's a whole other thing. So from that,
Somebody else mentioned her.
help yourself, bro.
He just can't. He just can't.
He can't. Just chokes himself up all the time.
Okay, so I feel like it's definitely a different generation these days. The way we were brought up was completely different. We were way more respectful to the adults, to ourselves, to anybody that we came or we encountered. And these days it's just like self. And I just don't. I haven't seen anything yet that is a positive or that's educational. It's like we have to really look for it. It's out there, but you got to really seek it because the marketing, like you said, is mostly negative. It's nothing really positive. That's I guess being commercialized today.
Yeah.
Like it was back in the days. It was definitely more shows for us to watch that were more educational, up to even in the 90s. Something happened in the thousands where everything just twisted.
Yeah. For all the deflectors out there, because I already know what you're thinking and wanting to say, so I'm just going to just cut you off at the path. She's not, when people say stuff like that, they're not saying negative stuff never existed. They're not saying, disrespect, never existed. No one's saying that. It's just with every generation, it seems to just get worse and worse and worse is what we're saying. That part you can't argue with. Yeah.
So your expertise, how do we change that, Jaira? Like, can we change it?
I think that's more of an internal situation, as an individual. It starts with you. Like you can't talk. Because
if you're not careful, this is going to turn into that kind of podcast. Because you got the 3 wrong people to start talking about internal changes right now.
It takes a lot of
about to get Jill Dispenza on this mofo.
Yeah, no, I think it's with the individuals, honestly. Like what it is that you want to see. Like it starts with you, ultimately. What do you want? Like I tell I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and I always tell my siblings, like, are you reading books? Are you people don't even like reading books these days. It's more like audio, or even an audio.
So
they'd rather watch TV.
Are you talking about accountability?
Isn't that harsh?
Wait,
in this era, but we don't do that here.
But you said it starts with you. Are you saying that people have a choice?
Do they have a choice? Yes, they actually do.
And with that, L.I.F.E on podcast, because y'all know where that rabbit hole that's going to go down. www.lifeonpodcast.com. We want to get your feedback on it, but we are going to consider that idea of maybe doing a live watch.
I'm 100% down.
Yeah, I think that'll be fun. But we want to know how y'all think. If you're just like, hey, give the show a chance, or I don't see a problem with it, let us know about it. Jaira, thanks so much. I want to have you on another one. I just like having you on here.
Sure, I'll stick
And I
around.
want to take advantage
here
while you're in town, while we can get it while the getting's good.
And I'm down to get on the Zoom.
Yeah, we can make that
Yeah,
happen.
for sure.
We can
No,
definitely pipe it in.
absolutely,
No,
absolutely.
Totally down.
So you have things to say, and you have some projects. I won't put it out there yet, but some stuff that you're going to be working on that's coming out. So people can get ahead of the curve. Where can they find you and follow you on social media?
So you can find me on Instagram and Twitter. I am Jahaira. That's IAMJAHAIRAA. Did you get that?
No, lost me on that one. But you know,
But I'm sure he'll
beautiful
put it
thing,
on
you
the
can hit that
caption.
little
You see it
10-second rewind thing so you can get that again.
It'll be in the caption.
There you
you
go. Oh, well, now that you said it, it will be. But go
Johnny's
ahead.
so happy because that's harder than mine because someone gives me such a hard time on my JUSTJONYVAN. Jahaira's is harder than mine. So you can find me all over the place at what I just spelled out for you.
See, and this is why they love me. StoneStafford.com.
No, they want to see
Everything.
you put your foot in your mouth.
Wait,
There you go.
They're not even going to know how to spell Stafford, first
You
of
know
all.
what?
Facts.
And that's facts.
Facts.
Because I get called Stratford, Stanford. You're lazy is what it is. You're being lazy and disrespectful. All right? Put
some respect on his
That's
name.
right. StoneStafford.com. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We're still trying to get to that million, and we can only do that
No,
with
we're
you.
going to do it in 2023.
Yeah, we can only do it with you. You 2023.
He's stuck in the
We're going to get it. We're going to get it done in 2020.
And look, it's a simple like and it's a simple share. And all you gotta
That's
do,
it.
like, have you heard that podcast? That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do. You're not gonna lose no friends.
Yeah.
It's not like you're like, hey,
Tell
vote
a
for Trump.
friend,
We
tell
won't
a
go there.
friend.
All right, then we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We are out. Peace.
So back to what I was saying. What I was saying.